Hey, what's going on, you guys? Welcome back to iTrack, one of the latest reaction channels on YouTube with the coolest community to back it. What we like to do is check out a lot of creepy TikToks and evaluate whether we think that they're cap or fact. And if you haven't already, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, smash the like button, and let's go ahead and jump into some of these creepy TikToks.
Got these fruits from Walmart because they looked really weird. So we're gonna try them. They're called like Rambutan. No idea what that is. I don't know, I don't even know if it's poisonous, to be honest. Oh! This is definitely the weirdest fruit I've ever seen in my entire life. I'm gonna just like pop the whole thing in my mouth. Just kidding! You think I'm an idiot? I am a trained professional chef and I know how to use a cooking knife. So it says just to cut the outer. Okay, I think I did it. Moment of truth. There's a cut right here and I just got to twist. Oh, it actually worked. What? That worked so much better than I thought it would. Do I just like bite it? What? The best way I can describe this is it tastes like a coconut mixed with a grape. That's crazy.
I got to know Buzz Aldrin really well. He went down to Antarctica. All these one percenters were going down there. It's like a new Disney World. I had to look at Buzz and ask him, Buzz, what happened down there? Buzz did say one thing. It just stuck in my head. It's the way he said it. We thought out things we shouldn't. Buzz saw something, and I don't know what it was, but it was enough to give the man a heart attack.
But the thing about Buzz Aldrin, there was this very cryptic tweet that came out during his stay down there. He said, "We have seen the faces of evil and we're all in danger." And this is right before he had his heart attack.
DDG sold his soul and is selling his nephew Woo-Wop's soul too. This is all facts. I mean, I'm even a DDG fan and have been since his college days, but can't ignore the blatant symbolism he displays. As you can see, he's showing one-eye symbolism in these photos. I want you to think about how unnatural these poses are. On top of this not even being a good photo, worthy of posting for millions to see, and when you know how the game works, you'll know why these are shown. I've got too many receipts. In his music video for Storyteller, he was posted up in a Masonic room we've seen many celebs in. While displaying the Masonic hidden hand, and Call Me Kinfolk made a video exposing it where DDG actually commented on.
This is them reaching for their wallet. This is them showing you the sign of the master of the second veil. We can see in history, right, have done this. Karl Marx, right, Napoleon Bonaparte, right? All these people have done it. All these people just happen to be searching for.
I mean, could it be coincidence? You guys let me know what you think down below.
Gum when these pictures are taken. Future, you got Future giving you the hidden hand. Prince Harry, the Beatles, Will Smith, Ashton Kutcher, Barack Obama. They just can't find that gum. And I wonder where it's at. Where did I put it at? And it's in the left pocket or the right. And these people, they giving you the 2-in-1, just like DDG, right? With the hidden hand and the Masonic checkerboard.
Security even wears a Masonic chain. Only Freemasons wear them. This is clear as day evidence in his own vlog. Masons are to help their Masonic brothers out. That's why he had him as security, like the Queen in this pic. Another picture displaying Masonic symbolism. We see so many celebs doing this action too. Last year on Twitter, someone called him out on being a Mason, and the common guilty response is not admitting nor denying the allegation, but roasting the person. So it's clear that it's true, else he would have denied it. Or even asked what it was, as a lot of people don't know what it is. So this shows he knows. Lucky I have these screenshots cause she's now private and I can't see the tweets no more. Back to the Masonic hidden hand. On Woo-Wop's 7th birthday, they posted this to his Insta, with people in the comments even catching onto what it is. This ain't no natural pose, especially for no kid. He was clearly instructed to do this for the picture. People making the excuse saying he was adjusting his jacket. If he was, then they wouldn't have posted it, as he wasn't even ready for the photo and would have taken better ones. So it's clear this was the intention. Even another picture, which is actually his darn profile picture on IG. Masonic hand gesture, which we can see many celebs do so too. And again, people caught on in the comments. They think they're slick, but the people know. We know if they weren't famous, they wouldn't do this. As soon as someone gets famous, they lose someone. Flash the same occult symbols and imagery. You can bank on it. Woo-Wop's even being used to push a destructive message to the kids. His song about eliminating his parents can come off as a joke, but it's nothing a child should be screaming, especially with that influence. I wish I was lying when I say yesterday I heard a group of kids singing that song. Like, bruh, I'm in the UK. It just shows his worldwide influence. And I forgot which video it was I watched yesterday, but Dub said his mom even said he should have cut out the part where Woo-Wop said that, but he chose to keep it in cause he knew it'd go viral. Now we see Woo-Wop with Lil Uzi, another satanic puppet, through promoting them dark messages. But take a look at this video from a few years ago of DDG answering someone who asked if he sold his soul. Just look at his mannerisms and body language.
Just say so. Nah, I don't think that's a real thing, guys. I was scared of that too when I started doing music. That's really why I never started, because I always told myself if I start doing music, I'm gonna blow up. And I was like, man, I don't want to do it because that little devilish shit I be hearing about. But I'm in this shit, nigga. It's just weird shit. It's just regular weird shit that go out in LA. Go on in LA. Niggas be on. It ain't nothing crazy. Well, at least I ain't too deep in it, but I don't know. Ain't nothing crazy from what I see.
I like how when his hit song Moonwalking was doing well, he posted celebrating that it's at 66+ million views of all numbers, with some very fitting emojis. I don't know what his obsession with 66 was. I only started monitoring these subliminals after continuously seeing it. Look, he made a private Instagram and promoted it when it was at 6 posts and 66k followers again with a fitting devil emoji. Then a day later, he actually removed followers, so it went from 66.1 thousand to exactly 66k and promoting it again. This reminds me when DJ Academics got caught out for doing this similar thing.
It's like you are deleting posts from your Instagram to keep your number at 666. Now,
That's true.
I noticed this a few days ago, but I didn't pay any mind. And now I see it's still there this morning, yet you've been posting quite a bit.
You get DDG hanging out with Kevin Gates with him saying he's been doing voodoo.
A lot of like voodoo on me right now. Like juju, that's the energy.
Hey, what's going on? What he doing to my mama?
You know how you feel to speak nothing of this. Yeah, I'm heavy right now. I just got a lot of voodoo on me.
Doing this weird symbolism. So make of that what you wish.
What's this? Wait a minute.
I left a couple things out of this vid, but you get the gist. But yeah, this ain't no hate. This guy I've followed from the beginning can actually name hella songs and supported all his music from his first tracks till now. I'm just real enough to call out what's real. It happens in the industry and I expected it. I don't understand the random hate he's getting lately, but this message ain't to add to it. It's just to tell him to get closer to God. We don't need no one hating on him, only telling him that he don't need to be involved with all this mess. God bless.
I did some digging this morning and found this record. And this is a UCC financing statement with the United States of America Department of Defense. Look who's the debtor. The Federal Reserve System. That's who prints the money. And it's in a trust, $14 trillion. Who is a jurisdiction organization of the United States of America, but lowercase, right? The lower USA. We know what that is. But that's not even a kicker. This is the kicker. Miscellaneous, in brackets, with this note is legal tender for all debts, public and private. But look what they included in their lien. As all real men with hands and legs and all real land in the United States of America, $14 trillion, with trust in God, this real estate is with the public. So it's all the people with hands and legs. They put a lien on your body. Go get it.
The entrance to the inner earth is at the poles. The inner earth is a real physical place with suns and rivers and oceans where real people are living. There was trade between the inner earth people and the people above. The trade agreement was violated. It was violated by the humans. It kicked off. The church shut down all the tunnels that were leading to the inner earth, and there's documentation that proves that.
So this just goes to show how Hollywood bosses care only about money and control while having morals and principles as seen as being weak or crazy. Now, who these bosses are and how exactly they control celebs is not entirely clear. However, several comedians, including Cat Williams, have previously suggested that Hollywood is run by a secret society. When Cat was asked to comment on Kevin Hart wearing a dress on SNL, Cat said that this has been going on in Hollywood for a very long time, and Kevin wasn't the first black entertainer who wore a dress before going big in Hollywood.
Kevin doesn't have to worry about what people are going to say about him wearing a dress because of the long line of dress-wearing people before him. So now...
Cat also said that people like him and Dave Chappelle can never be as big as Kevin for the simple fact that they refuse to join the secret society that Hollywood runs.
Some of us are against the Illuminati, and we are against the Illuminati at our own detriment. When people are against the Illuminati, then they get punched in the face all the time. The press hates them, and nobody likes them. End quote.
According to Cat, the individuals who run the entertainment industry are much more dangerous than most people can imagine. And he said he personally had to be stung 1,000,000 times before he realized who he was dealing with.
It's not necessary for us to stir up that hornet's nest unless we intend to get stung 1,000,000 times. I didn't understand that. They had to sting me 1,000,000 times. I'm still not going to join, but I respect it a little more.
And when Cat was asked why he allowed the media to smear his name after he started talking about the people who control the entertainment industry, Cat suggested that he had no other option because there's a heavy price to pay if you continue to speak out publicly on all the evil stuff that's going on in Hollywood.
If your mouth is really, really big and you try to tell the truth for a living and you like to air people out, hatred is coming your way.
Now, whether Kevin Hart really made it big because he agreed to wear a dress is hard to say, because Kevin is undoubtedly very talented and hardworking. However, sources close to Dave Chappelle are saying that Dave always felt uncomfortable with Kevin's obsession with success, and nowadays it feels like Kevin no longer cares at all about setting boundaries or protecting his brand. As for fans, they're saying this is much deeper than just Kevin wearing a dress. This isn't about...
As far as the comedy goes, I'm a fan of all three. I like all three of their comedy. I like their specials that they have on Netflix. So this is interesting, definitely, to say the least.
The dress for me, one fan said. This is about how far people will go for the sake of money and fame. The dress itself isn't what is humiliating. How he sees the idea of men wearing dresses as being a boundary that he allowed himself to cross is what's humiliating. That's sad. I hope he finds the strength to go back to the mindset he had at the beginning about being man enough to stand by your beliefs, standards, and boundaries, whatever they may be. But how do you feel about all of this? Did Kevin Hart really sell his soul and principles for fame? Comment down.
Do you guys think Nephilim giants are real or fake? Watch this interview and it might change your mind.
He's the one that was talking about seeing the giants in the deep underground military bases. He said that one of the first things that they had to do before he was allowed to go into S4 or S20 or any of the others, they made him sign an affidavit saying, you're not allowed to use the name Jesus Christ in these underground facilities, not even if you stub your toe or anything. And he said that he saw 10 to 25 foot tall giants in these underground bases and said that they were, human scientists and other people working side by side with them. He said that they even came right out and said they were the Nephilim. They came right out and said it. Said that, basically we're preparing for an intergalactic war with God, and they believe that they're going to win.
Where are they getting this they're going to win from?
And why are you not allowed to...
There's basically been a media blackout over these Pentagon files. Like, it's being called the biggest U.S. government leak since Snowden. This happened in like the last couple weeks. And Fox News even made a statement, we're not gonna cover this. We're not gonna show the documents because like serious blueprints for Ukraine were leaked. Yes. And did you hear about these?
Yes.
So
explain that to people.
I'm definitely not an expert on this.
But it seems like a blueprint for setting up this war.
Yes, and like very sensitive document. I mean, John Kirby, he's like Biden's spokesperson. He's the guy who lied about the Nord Stream thing, in the press room. Mm-hmm. And he came out and said, he specifically told media, don't cover this leak.
Don't cover the truth, guys. You're with us.
Anything you say with the words I am, your subconscious will then take that as a command. And so we're constantly programming our subconscious. We think we're describing it, but we're actually prescribing it.
We're living on the flat earth with the dome, the firmament. As we start to look around us, we start to wake up, our eyes open, maybe that third eye opens, we start to understand, wow, this isn't what I thought it was. Maybe instead of being a worthless blob of goo that came from nothing and then developing into apes that were oohing and ahhing and then eating bananas like a bunch of idiots, maybe instead of that, we actually are the center of the universe. Maybe we are special. In fact, maybe there is unbelievable evidence of creation, but the government has decided to hide that from you. Why? Why is there so much misinformation? Why is there a giant disinformation campaign going on right now when it comes to things like flat Earth? Are my eyes lying to me? Or can I trust what I'm actually seeing? But Christopher, the Earth is a globe. I was told that when I was 1 year old. They said, look, this is a globe. Isn't it interesting? It's one of the first things that you're actually taught. The Earth isn't flat, it's a globe. Even though for hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of years, they thought that the Earth was flat. Oh, but Christopher, we have all these images of outer space that show that the Earth is a sphere. Really? Where do the images come from? NASA. Oh, you mean the same NASA that is our government, our secretive breakaway government that hasn't been back to the moon since the 1960s. That NASA? Have you ever seen it with your own eyes? How come none of the electronics account for curvature of the Earth when you're flying a plane? None of the engineering of bridges and train tracks, buildings, all kinds of infrastructure that goes for miles and hundreds and maybe thousands of miles, none of it accounts for, in its actual engineering blueprints, for the curvature of the Earth. I mean, if I was building a giant bridge with hundreds of miles, wouldn't I have to account for the curve?
Dude, you ever hear about what Ben Franklin was? What did he do? You never heard that, like, what they found in his house? No. Like, tons of bodies, bro. What? Ben Franklin was a serial killer? No, he was, like, doing some weird shit, dude. Bodies. Like experimenting with bodies? Yeah. For nearly 2 decades leading up to the signing of the Declaration of Independence, Benjamin Franklin lived in London in a house on 36 Craven Street. In 1776, Franklin left his English home to come back to America. More than 200 years later, 15 bodies were found.
No, not Ben Frank. Not Ben Frank. Don't say it so.
In the basement, buried in a secret windowless room beneath the garden. From a 1 meter wide, 1 meter deep pit, over 1,200 pieces of bone were retrieved. Remnants of more than a dozen bodies, said Benjamin Franklin's house. 6 were children. Forensic investigation showed that the bones dated to Franklin's day. Holy shit.
World's weirdest food. Mostly found in the Philippines, the balut egg is known to be an aphrodisiac food. It's actually a fertilized duck egg that's 2 to 3 weeks in development. You're almost eating a fully developed baby duck. And when you're eating it, you can actually feel the soft bones as you're chewing it. Deep fried tarantula. They are mostly found all throughout Asia, but mostly in Cambodia, and have mostly been eaten by locals as snacks. Apparently, they taste like crab, but I just can't get around the way they look. Fried fruit bats are pretty common in China because they are super low in fat and almost have double the protein as a chicken breast. When it comes to trying new things, I'm pretty open to it. But this, I'm gonna have to pass for sure. Tong So is a Korean medicine that has around 9% alcohol. Where it starts getting weird is when they add the poop of a small child and let it ferment for 3 to 4 days, and then they boil it with rice and eat it. I don't know, would you guys try any of these?
Nah, not down.
Let's talk about predictive programming. So what is predictive programming? Predictive programming is a subtle form of psychological conditioning provided by the media to acquaint the public with planned societal changes to be implemented. If and when these changes are put through, the public will already be familiarized with them and will accept them as natural progression, thus lessening any possible public resistance and commotion. Predictive programming therefore may be considered as a veiled form of primitive mass manipulation or mind control. So to dumb that down, it's basically when certain things are put in media, movies, and cartoons to psychologically prepare society for a drastic change, using subliminal messages and imagery. Here's one example. All these images you see here are before 9/11/2001. At the bottom right corner, you see an image from an Iron Man cartoon in 1994 of a plane blowing up the Pentagon. Then you see The Simpsons, and The Simpsons are notorious for predicting things. Right, you can see on the magazine 9/11, showing the Twin Towers. Then you see a Spider-Man comic book with the Twin Towers being destroyed. Then at the top right-hand corner is a Supertramp album cover. And as you can see, you see the numbers 9/11 next to the Twin Towers. Then you see more comic strips showing a plane destroying the Twin Towers. Then you see Sesame Street in 1976 destroying the Twin Towers. These playing cards you see here are from the deck called Illuminati Card Game. It was made in the year 1995, and this card game is meant for children 12 and up. And these 2 cards I found were very interesting. One shows the Pentagon being blown up, another card shows the Twin Towers being blown up. Very interesting. This is a pretty good example of predictive programming, preparing society for drastic societal changes, making us more sedated, more passive about these crazy changes, and we become less resistant because of the subliminal messaging. Here's another one. Who could this possibly be? Enough is enough. That face looks familiar on the card. And that charismatic leader? Very interesting. Here's a current example I found. You guys remember these Snapchat filters from 2017? With the whole mask thing? This was about 4 years ago. Here's more images. Here's another image. And another one.
using subliminal messages to normalize drastic societal changes. Since 2020, when you walk into a store or some kind of establishment or schools, what do you see now? And it's pretty normal. Most people have already accepted it. That's what predictive programming is all about. It's psychological conditioning, preparing society for planned drastic societal changes. Another strange example is occult symbols being bombarded in children's cartoons. Why? So what if the Simpsons aren't predicting anything, but they're going off a script? Weird stuff.
Yuan Say, legendary gambler. He bets on everything, anything, huge cash bets all the time. Once the Bellagio put Bill Gates out of the high roller suite because Liu Wan was flying in. He is the perfect Vic.
How did you know who he was gonna pick?
We told him to. We've been telling him all day. From the moment he left his hotel room, we've been priming him, programming his subconscious. He's been seeing the number 55 all day long. On the elevator, in the lobby, even the stick pin on the doormat. Not only that, we loaded his route from the hotel to the stadium. He looks out the window, primers are everywhere. Now he doesn't see it, but he does. There's no getting around it. He even sees Farhad. Suggestions are everywhere, from the number of flowers in a vase to the tramp stamp on the we sent to his room last night.
That is genius.
Yeah, and it's not only what he sees, it's what he hears. The Mandarin word for 5 is woo. There are 124 woo-woos in sympathy for the devil. Now, he's not registering it, but it's all there. So when he picks up those binoculars, looks out on the field, sees a familiar face with the number 55 on his jersey, some little voice in the back of his mind says, that's it. And he thinks it's intuition, and he picks.
Do you want me to write it down?
And you, being in the dark, was the convincer. We call that the little blind mouse.
Predictive Programming.
I'm out here.
Crazy. I'm crazy.
Transvestites. They're transitioning from one thing to another. We're transhumanizing.
They're transitioning the human race to another species, okay? And it won't be long. It'll be in the 2020s, Doc. If you survive to 2030 without any of these genetic therapies injected into you, these biological operating systems, if you can survive to the 2030s and not become a human antenna, it's not just going to be one thing. It's going to be multiple things that they're going to try to get into our bodies.
Right.
If you can survive to the 2030s as a pure human being, you're going to be in a small minority of resistors. Of course, they'll call you terrorists, insurrectionists, enemies, infidels, but you will be the remaining purebloods. You'll be the remaining human purebloods on the planet. Satan is eliminating God's creation. That's why the time until Jesus Christ comes back, I believe it's very short.
That's deeper than the average, definitely. To think that like 2030 is about 7-8 years away, so it's not that far. Sounds kind of gloomy.
Nothing like this has ever happened, Doc. Nothing. It's never happened like this on this scale. We don't know We don't know what kind of technology that they had before the Great Flood, but the Bible says that Noah was pure in his generation.
Yes.
Does that mean he and his family were the last purebloods left on the planet?
Yeah, that's what the Bible says. So.
But the Nephilim were here, and the Nephilim are still here, and they're busy, and they're directing these scientists and engineers, and they are now transitioning the human race into another species, which is being merged with technology, synthetic biology. Study that. Just go online and study synthetic biology. It will shock you to find out what advances in synthetic biology they've already made.
One of the other interesting aspects of this particular article, though, is how 6G is going to operate in a whole new environment. It's not going to be operating like 5G is now, basically radio waves and wires. It's going to operate in light. It's going to be transmitted through light. Lucifer, he's an angel of light, and so, and we're talking 6G. I just think it's interesting that, even in our own studio here, LED lights, they're pervasive. Every light you own nowadays is an LED light. And I didn't know that it turns on and off 1,000,000 times a second, but they can now use light to transfer information. And so that's one of the words that we've come across at these tech conferences is the word ubiquitous. In other words, it's everywhere you look. What's more ubiquitous than light?
Satan wants to be able to say he is the light of the world. Doc, that's what it comes down to.
Right.
He duplicates through technology everything that God is through his being. And Satan wants to be able to say that he, Satan, is the light of the world.
Yes.
And that's where he's moving. So we'll watch this advancement in technology. Look, God could set it back. He could mess up their technology, mess up their plans. We don't know. But if we continue on the path that we're on, there's not going to be a lot of pure blood humans left on the planet in the 2030s.
Well, dang, that was definitely informative. Predictive programming, who would have thought? I'm going to pay attention to all the things I see from now on. Anywho, thanks again for joining me for another episode of iTrack, creepy TikToks that'll make you cringe and rethink everything. Get you on the next one.